Hey everyone, it's Nick from Nick's Crossing. Welcome to episode 2 of Nick's Reviews, where I review O-scale and O-gauge, cars, motive power, and accessories. Today I wanted to showcase my newly acquired number 2026, which is on the right track there. On station side, we have my number 1666, which was featured in episode 1 of Nick's Reviews. Both engines are very similar, and they're only a few years apart, with a lot of different features between the two. So we're going to concentrate on 2026 today. And if you'd like to see episode 1, please check that out under the review playlist. Alright guys, this is my Lionel post-war, very early post-war, 2026 Baldwin Prairie engine. This is an 027 model from Lionel, produced in 1948 to 49. And there's actually two different variations of this engine. What you guys see on the tracks today is variation 1. And the biggest determiner of that is your trailing trucks here. It only has 2. It's a single axle truck here. The variation 2 would have had a 4 trailing truck, so it'll be a 264 locomotive. Those are produced in 1951 to 1953. According to my research, the variation 1 is more desirable because of the rear trucks were not as appealing. They also did not stamp spoked wheels into the trailing truck, so one of your trailing wheels looked like my lead truck here. This is not the original tender that came with this engine. I'm actually running it with my Lionel 2046W. And yes, this tender does have a whistle unit in it that works beautifully, which you guys will hear in a few minutes. The original tender that would have come with this engine back in 1948 would have been the 6466WX tender, which would have had a whistle in it. It also has some nice detailing, has bars going down. I wish I could have picked it up with this engine, but this engine was sold separately from the tender, and the tender was an outrageous price. The variation 2 from 1951 to 1953 would have come with a 6466W tender and a 6466T tender. Alright guys, so first I wanted to go over the visual features of the engine and some of the detailing on here. You can see all of the detail riveting up front. Of course, we're missing that infamous Lionel lamp that they're always missing on these engines for some reason. You get a nice stamp step here. We also have a grab iron that goes all the way back. Tons of riveting up top. Also riveting on our firebox here. Some other detailing with your injector drain. They do stamp out your hot box here on this truck. I love that. It looks so nice. The trailing truck is also a spoked wheel stamped out, which looks really cool. You have this little post here, which is your whistle. Then you have a milled, looks like a milled bell that is stamped into the frame. We also have a couple other features up here. It looks like this could be your generator for the engine. And up here, I'm assuming this is a compressor. Not exactly sure. If you guys can tell me in comments, that would be awesome. Other features to this engine that are visually pleasing. This engine has a nice articulation when it moves around. She does have a little bit of a waddle, but it's probably just from running and being broken in. Functioning features of this engine. First, we have a Lionel classic bayonet headlight. Inside here is a bayonet bulb socket. The next thing is our operating smoke unit that uses the classic Lionel smoke pellets. And next we have a 3-position E unit. So this engine was actually picked up at a local antique shop. And because train shows are non-existent right now and a lot of train shows won't be happening for a while, I've been getting the fix of going to local antique shops, looking through collections. I have about 3 or 4 antique shops that are local that have trains. Some of them have a bunch of stuff and you find trains here and there. All well and good, but this engine was in a booth filled with all kinds of train memorabilia, a lot of lanterns and such. Unfortunately, this engine did not come with the original tender. The seller of the engine had another post-war engine in the case with the original tender that would have gone with this engine, but he wanted a crazy price for the tender. I wasn't even going to negotiate on it. I'll probably end up finding one on eBay or something. Alright guys, so let's get into some testing of this engine. Let's see how well she does on switches and running around the track by herself. And you guys can kind of see the waddle of the engine. So I'm actually going to reverse the engine and I'm going to put it through some switching tests. Alright guys, so let's give her a test run. I've got her hooked up to 3 of my Penske heavyweight cars. Let's see how well she does. Alright, we'll flip the switch back. There's that classic Lionel whistle. Alright guys, so thank you so much for joining me for Nick's Reviews episode 2 of my Lionel 2026 classic post-war engine. If you guys ever find one of these, even the variation 2 with the extra wheel there, I recommend picking it up. It's a great engine, it's a classic piece of Lionel history, and also I hope you guys enjoyed the footage from the media cam. I hit a couple things in testing, I took a lot of footage, and also I hope you guys like the dual action from track number 2 with the 1666. Pretty much a close call. There's a little bit of clearance between them. But I'm going to work on dwindling this mount down so we can get better footage of our trains going around. It'll create a better experience for you guys here on the railroad. If you guys are new to the channel, please consider subscribing and make sure you hit that bell for content just like this. I also love to hear your comments and give the video a like if you guys enjoyed what you saw, or if you guys had a good time watching the trains here on the railroad. But thank you guys so much for watching, and I hope to see you guys in future videos.